Well, the last day of 2025, and what a year it's been. Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Rodriguez, and welcome to the Wednesday, the New Year's Eve version of Dodgers Latest. So happy that you make us part of your day. Of course, you can hit me up right there on Instagram and on X at JRodShow, and of course, right here at Dodgers Latest on our YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit that thumbs up button, make the algorithm work. We love all the comments, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent. We love them all. I try to respond to each and every one of them. And of course, we hit you up right here in the viewer comment section as we ask you to be part of the show. What a 2025 it's been, and we can't thank you enough for letting us into your day every day. We've been going at it pretty much since opening day and through the winter meetings. And, obviously 26 is coming. Spring training, World Baseball Classic, and, of course, opening day right around the corner. 9-time World Series champion going for 3 in a row, trying to get another one of those rings as the Dodgers get ready to start the 2026 campaign. So let's get at it here as we get to it. And I guess, we talked about it yesterday here on Dodgers Latest. You can always go back and listen and relive all our episodes here on the YouTube page from the day we started all the way to yesterday's episode. And the one thing that we mentioned is obviously the Dodgers ended up trading Esteury Ruiz to the Miami Marlins. They ended up getting an 18-year-old prospect pitcher who they hope will, be somebody that they can count on down the road. He's 18, don't know how long before we see him, if we see him in a big league Dodger uniform. But Adriano Marrero was the guy that got in return from the Marlins for Esteury Ruiz. And of course, now the question is, what is the fallout of that? Dodgers now have an opening on the 40-man roster. And what do you do? How do you fill that? And with whom do you fill it? So, of course, that obviously gets us all thinking, as a New Year's resolution almost of what the Dodgers are going to do. And, of course, the first name that pops out to me, maybe it does for you, is how do you fill that last roster spot? Well, does that mean Kyle Tucker is next? I mean, listen, Kyle Tucker has been a guy the Dodgers have been eyeing, right? Prime of his career. He's going to be 29 in January. Back-to-back 30-homer seasons in 21 and 22. Almost had it 3 years in a row. Hit 29 home runs in 2023. Had a hairline fracture in his right hand, and he also had a strained calf. That kept him out to a bunch of games last year. But still hit 25 homers. Had 25 doubles, 22 homers, and only 136 games for the Cubs. Now, him coming back, he wanted a little bit more time. The Cubs didn't want him to rehab as much. That caused a fallout with the Cubs. So it's pretty much a deal that he's not going to come back to the Cubs. And he's the big fish out there. There are people saying, $400 million, 10-year deal for Kyle Tucker. And we know the Dodgers aren't in that kind of market. And we've talked about it here on Dodgers Latest, where they feel like it's more of Dodgers would be willing to go a higher AAV, average annual value of a contract, for a shorter term deal. Maybe put in some opt-outs so we can opt out after year 1, year 2, year 3 if it's a short term deal. So does that mean by the Dodgers clearing some space by trading Esteury Ruiz that Kyle Tucker's on the horizon? I mean, you've got some other guys out there like Byron Buxton and Stephen Kwan of the Guardians, but it always, no matter how we kind of move the pieces, it always seems like we're coming back to Kyle Tucker. And I don't know. I mean, I think Cody Bellinger, for my taste, is a guy I would rather see because Cody Bellinger could play first. He could play the outfield. I think Kyle Tucker is sort of just a corner outfield guy, a little left, a little right. The beauty of a Kyle Tucker, and you would also have this solved with Cody Bellinger, is by getting Tucker, he plays right, and that moves Teoscar Hernandez over to left field. And boy, what pretty good outfield, right? With Teoscar, Pages, and Tucker, you could get possibly 100 home run outfield between those three guys if Andy Pages really blossoms in year number 3 for him. And we know Teoscar is always good to be flirting around 25, 30 homers. And then, of course, Kyle Tucker is up in the 30 range as well. So Again, it almost, no matter how we shuffle the deck, no matter how we move things around, Harrison Bader, all these other names that come up, it always seems like Kyle Tucker is sort of sitting right there. And the fact that Kyle Tucker is still available as we move into 2026, they are definitely making him sweat. And I guess when you're asking for $400 million, not that the Dodgers are going to do that, but when you're asking for $400 million, teams are going to make you sweat. Teams are going to, see what other big fish out there, what other guys get traded, what other guys get signed for. But again, Kyle Tucker. I mean, I always love to talk to you guys. You guys are the voice of reason here on Dodgers Latest. Again, I don't know if Kyle Tucker is the guy. I mean, you're getting a guy at 29 years old, prime of his career. The injuries were a little weird last year, the calf and the hairline fracture. He'd been pretty healthy for the most of his career. Again, was 30-30 guy in 2021. Was one home run away from 3 straight 30 home run seasons. But again, only 136 games. Still put up some good numbers. But again, now with that opening in the 40-man roster of them trading Esteury Ruiz, it's good. It'll be interesting to see what the Dodgers do. Again, I don't know if Tucker's the guy, because personally, if I'm Kyle Tucker, I don't know if I'm going to take a short-term deal. Now, again, if Kyle Tucker wants to win, and he's already been part of a championship team with the Astros, if he wants to win, I'm signing for the Dodgers. And then you've got the labor uncertainty after 2026, so there could be a lockout. Do you want to be a guy who's a free agent, doesn't have a deal, or do you want to have a deal already in place, even if it is a short-term deal for Kyle Tucker? Lots for him and the agent to get after as we turn the page on 25 and into 26. A guy who will be somewhere else, well, Kirby Yates, we hardly knew you, Kirby. He has signed a 1-year deal with the LA Angels. Yates was in 50 games for the Dodgers. He was 4-3 at 3 saves, but he just couldn't stay healthy. He had an ERA of over 5. 3 different stints on the 15-day IL after a really good year with the Rangers. The Dodgers brought him over. It was supposed to be the 1-2 punch of Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott, and that was an epic disaster on both ends. Yates because he couldn't stay healthy, and Scott because he frankly couldn't get anybody out. So Yates is off to the Angels. Of course, Dodgers have signed Edwin Diaz to be the principal closer, so now you're going to have a sort of a 4-headed monster of Vesia, Trinan, Scott, and Edwin Diaz. So I like that 4-man rotation. And again, I guess maybe I'm just too stubborn, but I haven't lost total faith in Tanner Scott. Now, granted, Dodgers have 72 million reasons why they should still continue to have faith in Tanner Scott. But again, I think he's still got 3 years on his deal. Nobody's gonna really want him, or the Dodgers are gonna have to pay a boatload of money for him. I think maybe as a 6th inning guy, as a 7th inning guy, maybe you're using that left-handed, skill set that he has as a pitcher. I don't know if he's a closer anymore. Maybe, and I'm not just saying with the Dodgers. I'm just saying in general. I don't know if he's a closer anymore. Maybe a setup guy for Diaz, but I think I see him more as a specialty 6th, 7th inning guy. Granted, you've overpaid for this, but that's what you got right now, and you got to put Tanner Scott in positions to succeed. So I think him being a 6th, 7th inning guy, that's what I see. Finishing an inning, getting a tough left-hander out, and because sometimes the save of a game. The save doesn't happen in the 9th inning. It happens in the 6th or 7th inning. And I think that will slowly get Tanner Scott back into things. And I expect a big year out of Tanner Scott. I hope so. Because, again, the Dodgers don't want to have to drag him through again like they did last year and suffer so much. And for Tanner Scott, listen, at the end of the day, these guys are humans. He was feeling it, and he was relieved that the Dodgers were able to put another championship on the board at Dodger Stadium, and he didn't cost them any of that. So, again, I think Tanner Scott in the right spot slowly, and that's the one thing Dave Roberts and this organization has. They find ways to put people in positions to succeed. So Yates is gone. He's with the Angels. I think it's a pretty good deal for them. They'll be able to flip him. If they're in it, great. If he bounces back, awesome. If not, they'll be able to flip him at the trading deadline if they can't, finish it off and get back to the playoffs for Mike Trout and company. So Yates with the Angels, and we hardly knew you, pal, as he is no longer with the Dodgers. And of course, we always want you to be part of the show, best part of the program, and that's because it's you. Positive, negative, we love all the comments, and we love when you guys talk about each other. So let's get into some of the stuff you guys have talked about on this last day of 2025. And we talked about Hee-Sung Kim, how he has kind of not been in Doc Roberts' circle of trust, and he always seems to pop up in trade talks, right? He was in the rumor for Skubal. He was in the rumor for Brendan Donovan of the Cardinals. He's been in a rumor for all sorts of players. And Kim's biggest obstacle to playing time seems to be Doc. He has not yet gained Doc's trust for some reason. And we had to respond, Doc would listen if Andrew Friedman or the owner told him to play him more. Yeah, you know what? That's probably partially true and partially not true. I mean, I think there is some truth to that, of course. I just think for some reason, and that's one thing I'd love to know, is why Hee-Sung Kim has not been in Doc Rivers' circle of trust, Doc Roberts' circle of trust. I mean, again, to me, I know when spring training rolled around, the Dodgers kind of saw what they had, and Hee-Sung Kim and said, man, the game's too fast for him. It just coming from Korea to the big leagues, it just wasn't going to work, and they sent him down to the minor leagues, and he was there for a significant amount of time. And while he was down there, they said, hey, we need you to learn how to play the outfield. We need you to learn how to play third base. And what I always thought was his role was to be more of a disruptor, right? Pinch runner, get on base, make the infield have to move. The shortstop and second base is, moving around, covering positions, getting pitchers off their game a little bit. He had a little pop. He was on the playoff roster, ended up scoring the game-winning run when the Dodgers clinched against the Phillies. But again, for some reason, they really haven't found that, at least according to Dave Roberts, from what he has shown, hasn't really said anything about it. Hasn't shown by his actions that Hee-Sung Kim is his guy. Now, Kim can play second base, he can play short, he can play third, all of which are positions the Dodgers love to fluctuate and move guys around. It'll be interesting to see what he does this year, if he's A, on the team, and B, if he plays a lot. I mean, again, I would play Hee-Sung a lot. I would play him. They've got Tommy Edman and the big money they gave him, so Edman seems to be the second baseman. Paez seems to be the outfielder, although Tommy Edman can also play center. Maybe more of third base, backing up a Max Muncy. If Alex Freeland can't all of a sudden hold on, maybe he plays a little shortstop and backs up Mookie Betts. And of course, you got Miggy Rojas, who can play second, short, and third as well. So lots of options. The question is how much playing time everyone's going to get. So to me, that's one of the big interesting questions of 2026 is Hee-Sung Kim. Now, we talked about Kyle Tucker, right? Well, how about this? Don't think the Dodgers were really in the Kyle Tucker market. And we know that's true in terms of an extended 7, 8, 9, 10-year contract. They are interested in a shorter deal, a 3-4 year deal with opt-outs at a higher average annual value. It seems that what they are waiting on is, sign him to a big AEV, kind of we talked about, to remove that need. Then you can focus on tradable assets for Donovan, Skubal, Duran, or Buxton. Yeah, I think the Dodgers. I think if to me, if Kyle Tucker today said, "Listen, I'll take $45 million a year for 3 years and I can opt out after year 1, 2, and 3," I think the Dodgers would say, "Here's the contract." Question is that what he wants? Because I think he's fishing around, and the question is, where would Kyle Tucker end up? Is it the Yankees? Is it the Cubs? It doesn't seem like he's going back to the Cubs. Is it the Red Sox? They seem to be having a truckload of outfielders. Where does he end up? The White Sox seem to be throwing some money around and throwing some interest in some guys. That'll be the big test. The Phillies signed Adolis Garcia, so I don't think Kyle Tucker to Philadelphia is reasonable anymore. And there's always the Diamondbacks. A good buddy of mine told me, watch out for the Diamondbacks. They are going to be the ones that can make a splash out there. And of course, there's always the little brother to the south in San Diego. But again, I think they're trying to slash payroll too. So where does Kyle Tucker end up? Have his options dried up? And is it really Dodgers or bust? I think it's Toronto. I think that's more than likely the spot. I think it's either Toronto or the Dodgers. And it almost seems like Toronto is the team that's willing to say, hey, here's a 7, 8, 9 year deal, but it hasn't happened yet. And my question is, why hasn't it happened yet? So because I think the Blue Jays don't want to be that team that is bidding against themselves. So it's curious as we go tick, tick, tick now into 2026, what happens to our man Kyle Tucker and where does he end up? And where do you end up? Hopefully here at Dodgers Latest. You can hit me up on Instagram and on X at JRod Show. And of course, right here on our YouTube channel. Can't thank you enough for being part of the community. Again, the good, the bad, the indifferent, love them all, love the relationship that we're having. I try to respond to each and every one of you, and I can't, again, thank you enough for welcoming me into your car, your office, your house, wherever it is, as we talk Dodger baseball. Ain't nothing better than that. So happy New Year, everybody. Have a safe holiday with family, friends, buddies, whatever it is. Be good, be gentle, have some peace and grace out there, and let's get after it in 26. I'm Jim Rodriguez, and no matter the year, it's always time for Dodger baseball.